She was from the moment that bastard came unbolted. As soon as the koala got that last bolt out, she was
I would love to know what Burble listeners have seen that's freakish on the freeway. That's opening up a large can of worms. I'll go first, okay? So get in touch with us, the Burble AU on Facebook or our Facebook page, that's what it is, or our website, theburble.com.au. I was on a trip coming back from Sydney. We had to take some kids to an event at the Sydney Entertainment Centre when it was still standing. This is way back in 2008. So 11 years ago. And we just come off the Anzac Bridge on the Western Distributor to get onto the Parramatta Road.
Right.
Just coming off the bridge. Here's this bloke in this minivan. Out the side of the van. I've seen you do this a number of times. Yakking his head off. Down the side of the van. Oh, mate. He was spewing like a champion.
good on him.
And most of the kids that were on the bus trip were young females. And I said, look at this guy, he's got his head out. And I said, I made them look. I was like, girls, come quick, look at this. This guy's ready to pop, he looks sick. And then whoosh go. Oh, mate, he had the yawn.
Did you make him shut the windows of the bus first?
There were no windows on the bus. It was all fine because we were in air-conditioned comfort.
Ooh, you're on a coach.
We were on a coach, but it didn't have a toilet because then some
Did
of
it have Pretty Woman on DVD like every other coach in Australia?
No, I don't know. But the thing is, though, they're all young teenage girls.
Yep.
Are all sympathetic vomiters.
Ah.
So when they saw old mate vomit, they're like, blah, blah. Blah.
I was like that scene in Family Guy where everyone gets Epicac.
With the Epicac.
Yes.
And so I'm thinking, oh, God, like we haven't got a toilet on this bus. I don't think that there was one there. No, in fact, there wasn't. I know that there wasn't. And we had this situation where we couldn't stop in moving traffic on the Western Distributor. So I said, look away if you don't like it. But some of the boys that were on the trip came over to me and we were all just giggling, laughing at old mate, who's obviously had one too many suds down the cross.
Yep.
You know, he's got his dance at Eros. Now he's just yakking up all that black sambuca that he had. It was nasty. But anyway, if you've seen something like that on the roadways or the freeway, we would love to hear from you. Wouldn't know why? Because that's great content. So the Burble AU on Facebook or theburble.com.au. But I still think that's a really unique way to make sure that people pay their bloody fees.
No, look, it's a sign of the times if you ask me.
Loose talk, even looser opinions.
This is the best show on earth.
This is the Burble.
Wow. Now, look, being in a coma, okay, for an extended period of time, and let's face it, it's been popularised in movies such as Hard to Kill, Steven Seagal.
Yes.
Kill Bill.
Yes.
Volume 1 was also in there, but there's a story out of the United States where there's a case of an American woman who gave birth in a vegetative state. It's prompted the resignation of the CEO of the private health facility where she was in care. Now, it comes out of Arizona.
Look at him. He's got Predator written all over him, hasn't he?
Well, he's the form. You can't see the picture at the moment, but he's the he's the former CEO of Hacienda Healthcare. His name is Bill Timmons. Now, he stepped down following the troubling case of a woman who's been in a coma that gave birth. How long was she in the coma? 10 years.
Right, so
10 years.
Let's just get the back of the envelope out there and work a couple of things out, shall we?
Sure.
How long does it take to cook a baby?
9 months, give, take.
Right, how many months in 10 years?
120 months.
Right, so what's 120 minus 9?
That would be 111 months.
Right, so she was in a coma for 111 months before she got knocked up.
Yes. That's pretty much it.
Something's rotten in the state of Denmark there, my friend Benny.
Denmark? It's Arizona.
Well, it's probably Denmark, Arizona.
Do you know what?
Like dumb shit names over there.
What was that other thing you mentioned the other week? Pfeffernessi.
Yeah, I'm in Pfeffernessi, Texas.
Okay, fair enough.
Right.
That
was the worst accent ever.
Okay. A female that's been in a coma for 10 years suddenly gets pregnant. Now, look, I don't have to really say that. I don't have to really put it out there, but you know what? ID badges and swipe cards to get into facilities, realistically, these days, is not enough to protect those who they're caring for. Would you say that that's a fair comment?
Very fair.
Very fair?
Very fair. It's one of the fairest things I've heard on this podcast.
Now, listen, the baby is apparently alive and well, but a local doctor has slammed the lack of prenatal care given, which is fair enough.
But what, no one noticed that this lady in a coma was suddenly chopping up weight like this fat kid in front of Fortnite?
Exactly right. Like, he's too busy eating cookies or is,
accidentally doubled a feeding tube dose. Like, I'm sorry, like...
How does that go under the radar?
And then...
I know that, like, teenage girls, for example, can sort of hide the bump when they're embarrassed and then all of a sudden, like, I go birth.
Yeah, but...
Or larger ladies.
But...
Who don't even notice that they're pregnant.
Yeah, but let's assume that she was a normal-ish, within one standard deviation of the norm, woman.
Yes.
Right, and she's laying...
Medium height, medium build.
She's in a coma,
yep.
She's in a machine, she's on her back.
Yes.
She's not going anywhere, but all of a sudden when you put the sheet over it, doesn't lay flat anymore.
Exactly right.
And then that's what the dude was saying. He's like, I'm worried that once they found out she was pregnant, no one give a fuck. Like, they didn't bring in a, what they called obstetrician to check that the baby was still alive.
The OBGYN.
Yeah, them guys.
Yep. They didn't bring that in?
No, because in America, children are sacred until they're born, and then they're your problem. It's serious. It's true. And I'm sorry.
I know.
Okay, I'm going to offend some people. It's out of context. Character. Obviously, I'm going to make some offensive comment. But yeah, in America, all life is sacred till it's born, and then you.
Well, I'm not going to disagree with that. But now police are on the hunt for the vegetative pregnancy rapist. Now, this same thing was dramatised in the beginning of Kill Bill 1.
Was it?
Yes, it was, where the bride woke up and then all of a sudden she could hear people coming and then pretended she was asleep. One of the nurses was bringing in truckers that he knew from way back out west.
Oh, yeah.
Just to come in for a bit of a dirty Vaseline.
Yep.
I guess that's what you could call it.
Luckily, there was no air freshener cans involved.
He said his name was Buck and he likes to and
yes.
that's a part of the movie, which you do remember. No one relayed any incident. Now, apparently, look, there was an allegation that a staff member has made inappropriate sexual comments about 4 patients in the months leading up, but no one relayed those incidents to an administrator, and that employee got the arse. What they're saying is they're going to do everything in their power to make sure that they find out who the hell this person is.
Yeah,
this really makes me sick, this story, and I'm not joking.
No, it's terrible.
Yeah.
Now, it's not that hard to work out who this was, right? To make a baby, you need 2 lots of DNA.
Yes.
You need the mum.
Yes.
Now, we've got the mum. She's in bed.
Yep.
We can grab a little bit of blood out of her, that's easy, and we can discount that DNA.
Yep.
Then we take some DNA from the baby.
Yep.
And we check the other 50%.
Yep.
You get every bastard that was at the bloody home back in there, and you take a vial of blood, and you work out who it is, and you cut his balls off.
Pretty much.
Like, I mean, they do it in, like, CSI, crime scene investigation, takes an hour.
Who are you?
They get some DNA, they match that shit up, and bam! Harry's in the can.
Harry's in the can.
Done, and then bloody what's-his-face does the thing with the glasses, Horatio.
David
Sinise. No.
That's Gary Sinise.
Gary Sinise. He's in the new one.
Oh, is he?
CSI New York, or not the new one.
Yeah, you think New York would be far more of a bloody horrific zone than that.
No, I think everything in New York's covered with tainted DNA, isn't it? It's like the biggest city in America.
Before hand sanitizer was the thing, I actually took hand sanitizer over when I spent time in New York. Mind you, that was 19 years ago. I was in New York. 19 years ago this week, in fact.
Wow.
Yeah, I love New York. It's great. The New York subway system has its own unique smell.
Yeah, you've told me about this before.
Yeah, I can't describe it. It's like when you walk into the Sistine Chapel, it's got its own unique smell.
Right.
The New York subway system, especially at Columbus Circle, my God. That's disgusting.
But I mean, they've got to, realistically, this is a terrible development. This is horrible that someone would even think to do that. And I hope they bloody sort this shit out and get it done. And maybe, if you've got a ward full of people that can't move around and shit, pop a camera in the corner.
Why aren't there cameras in there in the first place?
Exactly.
Security cameras, get them in there. Have they covered it over so they could go the bloody Coma Hump-Fest on? Now, think about the child for a second here. It's not going to grow up with any parent because, A, the male's not going to come forward and admit that I was one that he went...
Would you want to know that male anyway?
That's true. And B, the mum's going to say, yeah, my mum's asleep and she's been asleep for 10 years.
Yeah, but see, this is the problem.
That child's up from the get-go.
Oh, yeah.
It's going to be in the system. It's going to be in the foster system. or they may adopt. I don't know, but I'm just pointing out how I think that is just going to be absolutely terrible for that child.
And also think about this bloke, right? This woman could wake up at any time, and now if American action movies has taught us anything, she's going to wake up with a full knowledge of kung fu and a death wish. She's going to come after him, and nothing will stop until justice is done.
And she'll want to make out with Steven Seagal. He'd have to look up at her first, though. That short ass.
Or maybe he could stand on the bed.
This is The Burble with Benny and Az.
Uber's being introduced to a number of regional areas here in Australia. It's everywhere, of course, in major cities and all that kind of thing. But Uber Eats, and not only Uber Eats drivers, but food drivers everywhere. Your typical, Dougie the pizza boy, all that kind of thing. Apparently, you're now being caught, and they're videoing and shaming them online of them opening up and feasting on meals before resealing them and then delivering to the customers that ordered them. Now, look, this is why
that's not cool.
It's not cool. We live in a town, or a city, I should say. We live in a city where it's nothing for us just to go and pick it up.
Yeah.
Like delivery, they're going to slap like $15-20 on the cost, and that's it. You know what? Why bother? Just go and get it yourself.
Yeah, it takes you 3 minutes to drive there and 3 to drive back.
Exactly right. So if you want to get that stuff, just go and pick it up yourself. But people have become so used to this, I'll just Uber Eats it and they'll just bring it to me.
Yeah.
And here's the list of stuff I can have. They've even got those TV commercials.
Well, I used it in the UK.
And?
It was pretty good.
Yeah.
Like, after a long day of sightseeing and pounding pints at every pub we went past, we got back to our pad and we were just like, what are we going to do to eat?
Yep.
And I'm like, ooh, you tried this Uber thing.
Right.
So, got on there, signed up, blah, 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 ordered some Maccas, because I thought that was pretty safe, right? Like,
Maccas is safe?
You can't that up, so...
Well, Mac out is easier, sure, but anyway.
Well, yeah, that's fine. Yeah, so we ordered some Maccas, and we went out in the balcony, and they said it'd be about 13 minutes. You can actually track old mate. So you can see him, like a little satellite, like GPS dot that moves around the map that tells you where your driver is.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, we were on the second floor on a balcony, and then we saw him pull up, and he got out, and I waved at him and said, hey, Steve, or whatever his name was, because it gives you his name and everything. It's quite futuristic.
Yeah.
And so
let me guess, he had a Yaris?
No, he had some other small bubble bullshit car.
Right.
Because in England, you don't get big cars anymore because they've got like congestion tax.
What's the Prius, sorry, the Toyota Prius, because you're saving the earth with the Toyota Prius.
No, you're not. You're condemning the lives of a lot of people in is it Nairobi? To a horrible, horrible existence because they've got to get lithium out of the ground. It's not much fun. Yeah, so it was pretty good. And as I said, I thought Macca's was safe.
Yeah, but if you got the chips in the car for too long, they can turn that awful kind of...
Yeah, but it's no worse than you going to pick it up yourself, because that's basically all my old mate does, is you put the order in, it goes to Macca's, and then Uber sends...
So do you pay the Uber fee for him...
Yeah, and you pay Macca's and Uber at the same time, and then he rolls into Uber and goes...
So he's got to turn up with his own cash and buy your bullshit.
No. He just turns up like with a number or something to Macca's, and they hand him a bag with my food in it, and he just drives it to my house.
Oh, that's convenient.
It's very convenient.
So how much do they chuck it on top? Normal, like Big Mac meal with Sprite instead of Coke?
There's a couple of quid on top.
That it?
Yeah, it's not too bad.
We don't have Uber Eats where we are here now, though.
No, we have an Uber.
Is there just one?
There's one guy.
That's embarrassing.
Poor bastard. He's run ragged too.
Okay, I bet he is. So anyway, a driver's been caught on camera helping himself to food that he was supposed to deliver. He's eaten into it, all that kind of thing, snacking down, and then seals it all up and then goes and delivers it back to the place that's ordered it. So you could have ended up, right, with old mate here who
just nomming on my fries.
Yeah, nomming on your fries, and you go, hang on a minute, that's not a full shovel full of fries. And then what are you going to do? He's off in his Prius.
Yeah,
he's gone.
I got the make of his car. I got his name. All I need to do is just hone my kung fu skills and hunt him down.
Like, is it advised if you're going to use Uber Eats is to greet the driver from the second floor, but have like maybe a couple of bowling balls up there?
I had a knife in my sock when I went down to meet him.
You had a knife in your sock?
No, I didn't. Well, we were in Whitechapel. Just around the corner from where Jack the Ripper's first body was found.
I understand that.
Yeah, it was cool.
I was going to make a Jack the Ripper kind of comment there. What kind of food would Jack the Ripper... Well, Jack the Ripper's just done his first victim. Oh, no, let's just say he's on his third, so he's got a bloodlust for it.
Yeah.
Jack the Ripper, what's he homing pigeon to bring around to eat.
I reckon he's going for a McRib.